Pearson.
Hi, Derek. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me well?
I am, yeah, I can. Thank you. I'm doing good. We are on the call here in my office. Turned with me today. She's doing some training, and then too. So we can go ahead and get started. Linda, if you'd like to give a short introduction.
Sure. I am the tech support manager at. I have been with the company for approximately 24 years. I am over 12 tech support staff. Our hours currently vary from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 9 to 4 on Saturday. We are a service provider that provides service for internet, cable TV. We also have managed services, and we're kind of in central Minnesota, what's as far north as probably Litchfield, and as far east as kind of the Prior Lake area. We do have an office down in Goodhue, so we have that area, and as far as west as kind of Redwood Falls, and then we have another branch in Iowa.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know, that's more about the company, but just a short synopsis.
Okay.
Good, thank you. We can go ahead and get started. Derek,
Absolutely.
if you can review for us your education background and your work experience, that Linda has an opportunity to hear also.
Okay. You said you want me to give her a brief summary of it?
Yes, a brief summary, your education background with your highest level, any certifications, and then your current and past positions.
Okay, absolutely. So, my highest level of education that was finished was a high school diploma. I graduated from South High in South Minneapolis. In terms of my certifications, I have two certifications. I have the Microsoft Technology Associate Certification for Networking Fundamentals, and also that same certification for servers. Right now, I am working on my Cisco CCNA. I probably will have that, in August, or it could be a little later this year. I primarily come from a desktop background. So initially, I started doing a lot of the Windows 7 migrations here in the Twin Cities, such as AIG, Travelers Insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, TCS, Medica. And, I kind of rolled the Windows 7 wave for a while. And I was also, an end user support analyst for TCS. That's when my career began to kind of shift. I was also a Citrix administrator for a managed service company, in St. Paul. And during that time, I began to, on the weekends, go to Metro State University to talk to children about the Microsoft Imagine Academy and my experience in the IT field. Around that time, I did that for around about a year. I would go and get my sugar-free McDonald's iced coffee, and I drive down to Energy Park Drive. And sometimes I would have like friends that would know about Splunk and Cisco, and they would bring their routers and show them TeamViewer and things of that nature. And around that time, I was asked to write a curriculum for adults, which I did for those Cyrus organization, which is a nonprofit here in Minneapolis. And for 7 years, I taught and instructed for that Microsoft 98366 certification. I got over 300 to 400 people enrolled, certified, and employed in the IT field. And before I left, I helped stand up an Azure Fundamentals class, and I passed the torch to one of my students that was in the class. When people heard about the class, there was a school called Hiawatha Academies. They asked me to come on board and, help with their system administration and, being a Salesforce administrator. So I was kind of like the liaison in between IT and there was a managed service IT company they had, and then you had, the network team and the teachers and things of that nature. So I was kind of a liaison there. I really didn't have a lot of administrative rights to do anything for like Trees Force and Active Directory and things of that nature. But I was able to kind of sit down with the business and see how they wanted to mandate their data points for Salesforce and Infinite Campus and Tableau. The most recent position was with Veritas, which was a technical support engineer. So they were doing managed service support for pretty much the largest enterprises in the world. Anything that did any company that did data backup, they pretty much had their footprint. So, I might get on a Zoom call. Somebody might have a question about how to, install Net Backup and support Net Backup with AWS or Azure, Dell Data Domain. It could be questions about Kubernetes and Docker and things of that nature. So, I would say that I kind of had a wide variety of supporting, different companies from the public to the private sector.
Good, thank you. Linda, do you have any questions related to experience or education before I move forward?
No, I do not.
Okay. Derek, did you have a chance to look at our company website? And if so, what did you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was very interesting. In fact, I had a question about the $200 million project in Mankato as to how you guys were to, expand your investment strategy, out there to Cherokee and Vista County in Iowa. And I had a couple other questions about that as well.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. Yeah, we definitely can answer the questions that you do have. Linda, do you want to talk a little bit on the fiber project that we have going on right now?
In the Mankato area, I am not as familiar with that. I'm not as familiar with what we have beyond what is on the website, but we are certainly, working to grow our fiber beyond just the communities I had shared. As far as like the Cherokee area, I believe that has, that is one of the companies that over time as Nuvera has grown, that we acquired, and I do know that there is also fiber expansion in that area. I do apologize that I'm not as knowledgeable about that, but
no problem at all.
But yeah, fiber is certainly the way that we are trying to go, because it is definitely easier to support and definitely a better experience for the customers.
Okay.
And I can touch just a little bit from the HR side on the fiber project as far as company-wide. We're in year 3 out of 5, and so we're continuing to work hard to meet the goals and objectives to have that project completed. Of course, with any major project, there are some learning curves and some bumps along the road. Weather plays a huge part in it also, just with construction through the seasons, of course, with winter weather and Minnesota weather in general. For the Mankato area, I'm with Linda on there. I don't know, as far as expanding into that area, but, New Ulm is close to Mankato, so there are some communities that we do service in the area that, in between the New Ulm and Mankato, or a little bit outside of the New Ulm area. Mankato and New Ulm is about 30 minutes apart, so I can see where you might have thought the Mankato area, but New Ulm is our headquarters with our corporate office, and then as we talked about, I know Prior Lake would probably be the closest office for you where you're located, Derek.
Yes, ma'am. I actually pulled up one on Google Maps because I like to kind of look at, whenever I dig into a company, I like to see how they look, and I noticed, I said, they have, very rarely do you see an internet service provider in the middle of the middle of a small town. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's good. Why did you apply for this position when you seen it posted? And you kind of answered the next question on why Nuvera, but if you'd like to add any more to that.
Well, when I was looking at your website and I seen a lot of the different things you guys offered, I thought that it might be worth a conversation, with my background. I saw that you guys had you offered a wide variety of things. One thing that was very interesting to me was, rarely do I see an ISP that offers, general desktop support, especially for the prices that I saw. I know that, when I used to see Geek Squad here in the Twin Cities and stuff, it used to be kind of outrageous. They charge you like $200 to $300, to do basic PC support. And I seen that you guys were able to, carve out a good lane, helping the community in that regard. One of the bigger things that I seen too was the great expansion of the fiber. Here in the Twin Cities, we have well, I still call it Quest, but it's Lumen. They switched the name 1,000 times from CenturyLink to we have Lumen, and I didn't know that there was any other pretty large size ISPs, and I guess I had a lot of questions. I was wondering, I was like, do they lease the lines, or are these their own independent lines? And so when I kind of dug in and seen how you guys were founded in 1905, and you were actually a telephone company, and I seen the pictures of the women there that were working on those switchboards. I thought that was pretty interesting too.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you. Linda's going to talk with you more about the position, the department, the hours, and the expectations for this position. Of course, if you have any questions, certainly ask.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay, so just to clarify that, so the technical support position, we are actually providing support for, we're not so much, we do have another group that does, we do sell managed services, and we do have IT field service technicians that work with our business customers on that. So that would be, and also residential. So that'd be a little bit more in line, like with the Geek Squad. What this position is more about, helping customers that are calling in with issues with their actual connect, like either an issue with voice, video, or broadband, whether it could be a circuit, it could be DSL. Thankfully, we do not have dial-up anymore, but all of those things. So it's more or less just making sure that they have Flex. We do have a Flex Voice, which is a VoIP offering that we also support. So basically, it is making sure that they have, the connection that they need in order for all of those things to work. So we do have an IT group that deals with more like the server side, like you were talking about. But the technical support does not get in. I'm not saying that we do have a group that deals with our service level agreement customers or managed agreement customers, and often they're the level 1 support, so they may be escalating those issues to another group. But we deal with more of the level 1. Not saying that it's not really fair to say level 1, because it can be more complicated. We do have a variety of platforms. The goal is to get everything to fiber, but we also have fixed wireless. We have some different DSL platforms. We have some Adtran equipment in our Prior Lake area. We're running Calix and other areas. So you do have to be savvy about a lot of different tools, and we do have some legacy equipment that we also have to maintain. We are trying to migrate away from that. We also do sub-level 1 support with email. We use a Magic Mail server for that. We have software that allows us to remote into computers, Bombgar with, I don't know if it's Beyond Trust right now. So basically, we are the level 1 support. Then we will escalate issues either to our IT, maybe our central office, could be our tech group, which is like transport engineers, or it might be our NOC. The position that you are applying for is Sunday through Thursday. It's 12 to 9. Currently, we do not have any hours that are actually advertised on Sunday. Currently, we are using Consolidated Communications after hours. So they are dispatching a lot of tickets to our field service technicians during that time, and sometimes to our IT field service technicians who do on-call for internet only when technical support is not open. So starting out, eventually we would like to add another individual on Sundays and then expand the hours. But for now, our idea is to just kind of use that day to kind of basically help keep us get caught up. So then right now Mondays are very hard because we are closed from 4 o'clock on Saturday, and then we don't open until 7:30 on Monday. So there's a lot of things that come through over the weekend, and we're hoping to kind of get get a start on that. And we just kind of looking at our different stats. Sunday evenings are when everybody's trying to kind of get ready for the week, so our calls are higher with that. We've also had we had quite a bit of growth with during the pandemic when people were working from home, and so there's just a lot of things that come through, and so we need some help in trying to manage that.
Okay.
So those would be the hours. Currently just to give you, I guess, an idea of what the rest of the team is, we have 2 people currently that are working Monday through Friday, 12 to 9. They do not work any Saturdays, and there is no on-call in with my team. That is covered by another team, like I said, outside of those hours. And then we have some other people that that have different daytime shifts. And then they have a Saturday shift that we rotate them through the 9 to 4. And then typically they get a day off during the week. So I think, and I guess my expectation would just be that you would, be willing to work with whoever is in the company, and whether you're coworkers or other people, and just make sure that because we are remote, it is sometimes hard to communicate. So we do rely heavily. We use Microsoft Teams for collaboration.
Oh, okay.
So that is something that, it's a little bit different. I don't know if looking at your resume, I don't know if you've worked in a remote role before, but it can be challenging at times because you don't see people face to face. I do have an option. I stay on camera for our weekly meetings. I don't require it, but sometimes people will pop on and turn on their camera for a while. It's just nice because then they can actually see who they're working with. So that is the only thing that can be a challenge. I would say that since the pandemic, Nuvera we have moved to doing, because before that we were probably doing a lot of our meetings and such in person, and we do a lot of, most meetings are in either Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So, and being comfortable using that, and not that we don't use the phone or or email, but my preference is to kind of use Teams more, because then that's instant and it's easier to communicate. Or we have various kind of channels where we communicate. So I think that is everything. Did you have are you still interested in the position?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working remote since the beginning of the pandemic. So I've used Microsoft Teams. That's been one of the initially when I was doing instruction for my classes, we were using Slack. So Microsoft Teams is fine. All of these positions that I've worked, a lot of them have been in a matrix environment. So I am highly familiar with working remote and, some of the limitations and things of that nature. But yes, I am interested.
Okay. What is it about technical support that intrigues you?
Well, I'll try to make this a quick story. The way I got into IT was kind of accidental. My mother was going to the Minnesota School of Business, and she had this huge book. And she only read maybe a few chapters that was required of her class. And I found it in her closet. I think I might have been, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15, if that. And so she sent me upstairs to grab one of her purses or something. And the book fell on my foot from the closet. And I was like, okay, this must be an important book if it's this heavy. And I popped it open, and it was about like PC hardware support. I read the entire book in like 2 weeks. And so I started kind of grabbing, I built my own computer. I was like one of the few people in my neighborhood that built their own computer. And I used to find parts in the garbage and all kind of stuff. And so years down the line, I ended up taking an internship. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a nonprofit called Urban Ventures, but the Crystal Ray Jesuit High School in South Minneapolis. That was my first real introduction to working in an actual IT environment, where I started learning about imaging computers and Active Directory. So I've always been the most technically inclined person in the family. I was always the person where, when the cable systems were having issues back then, they called it Paragon. So now it's Xfinity, and it was Comcast, but they called it Paragon back then. So I was the guy that would always hook up the caller ID in my family, because they didn't, they may not understand, inputs and outputs and things of that nature, and any of the video game systems. So I've always had kind of a support background.
This may be, you might have already answered this, but I'm still going to ask it. What skills or strengths do you have that would be valuable to our team right away?
Well, I would say, the biggest skill set that I have is communication. I'm pretty good at being able to divulge information without using a lot of very confusing terms and jargon. Organization, I think, will be my next step. And, I would say that I had a wide and a diverse background in infrastructure. Those would be the things that I would, I think I would be the most keen at. And one question I had is, what is the training and learning curve and expectation between the first 60 to 90 days into the position?
So typically we pair you with kind of a mentor. We do not have an official, an official training program. We're not as big as, say, Comcast, but we do have, we pair you with another technical support person, and then we have you work alongside of that with them. We have some training materials that they go over, and then in time, it just depends on your comfort level. Typically, most people are on the phones within, I'd say, 6 weeks or so. It doesn't mean that you're completely without any support system. So I don't just say, "Oh, you started, and here you go and figure it out."
Right.
So no, we go through. We go through our training documents. You also have the opportunity to do some ride-alongs with the technicians, and occasionally, if you have further questions, like for example, I've had some people that have asked to shadow like an IT field service technician and just see what they do, and we've sometimes done that as well. So. But no, you're not, it's not like we hire you and just, you're working by yourself on a Sunday, and I'm not, it's not that I'm not, we're not going to just, set you loose without any kind of training. That's not, definitely not how it works. Now my other question, building on the question I just asked is, and if you want to just, I don't want to have you repeat yourself, but if you want to talk maybe about any training that you've done recently, or if you want to talk about the training that like your CCNA that you've been working on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I enrolled into a class, about a month and a half or so. The Cisco CCNA class was out of a nonprofit called IT Career Lab, and I took that, after the layoff at Veritas, I did a little bit of consulting for some help desk stuff. That wasn't on the resume, but, I wanted to get back into, network support. I have an understanding of it, but, I think that it's probably something that I probably should have done, a while back. So, the program is going through the network the Cisco Network Academy. And then, you might use Packet Tracer to run through labs and things of that nature. And then we have a from what I've been told, the Cisco CCNA is half conceptual, half memory. It's a very, very broad, realm of questions and concepts that you have to understand. I've been taking that class. I would say that was probably the most current training that I've had.
Okay.
Derek, as you know, our customers may call in with questions on their services, a problem that they're having that they want fixed, or they could also call when frustrated with one of our services, such as internet speed or video freezing. How do you diffuse a customer's anger so that you can get to their question and start troubleshooting?
Well, I would say, active listening skills play into this for us there. The first thing I notice, when it comes to customer service is being able to just listen and see what the issue could be. Because sometimes what happens, people are already frustrated with the issue at hand. It might be an issue where, it could be operating at just the layer one. And forgive me because I always think about my OSI. My internet's not working. That's a very vague statement. Now, it could either be slow or, but let's just say for the sake of, the question, let's just say it's not working. The first thing, I want to do is I want to get them to kind of just explain to me what's occurring. And then the first thing is, well, number one, let's check and see if the cord is connected. They're not technicians, on the other end of the phone. So when they can say it's not working, that's all they care about. Me, I'm going a little deeper. So I'm saying, well, let's check the Ethernet cord. And sometimes that just might be it. Or, or they could say, well, it's not working. And it may not be the internet at all. It might be Outlook, or, it could be, maybe a firmware update where the router got rebooted or something like that. And then, now their phone is, so I would say that the first step is basically just, gathering information and just letting them talk, so they could, and then I could go into the question mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good, thank you. The position will do technical support for all of our services: internet, data, computer, networking, managed hosted solutions, video, and voice services. How do you keep up with the changes of technology?
Well, Network World is one of the places where I find, a lot of, and then I use DICE, to find out what are some of the new skills that the industry is required. When I was on your website and I was looking and seeing, you guys do network monitoring and managed switching, I was going to ask a few questions about what is the scope of, supporting those routers and switches and things of that nature for the customers, whether it be residential or business. I'm a kind of person where, if there was, like, for example, there was a new tool that was in Azure at one point called Network Monitor. A lot of times when I was instructing my class, I had to kind of stay above the curve for some of the new applications in the cloud that might have got released. And, what I would do is I would incorporate that in part of the training. Just, even though that the certification was just basic network fundamentals, a lot of times I just tell them to put the book down and we're going to just go do a deep dive into actual industry standard tools, just to stay, to stay ahead.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you.
What does great customer service mean to you?
Being able to answer the customer's questions. I think that, when a customer calls in, they're really just truly looking for answers. I know that they're not probably just calling in because, they're enjoying the sunshine. They're calling in because, that they might have an issue where they say, well, I don't know which Cat 5 cable do I plug this in the back of this router, or what do I do with this? I don't know what to do. So I think that they're just looking for a resolution to their issue, and the way that I see resolving problems is they're all about questions and answers.
Good. Derek, the next part of our call, we're going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to start with different things that you prefer in technology, and then Linda is going to ask you some technical questions. If you don't know the answer, it is completely fine. It's just to kind of gauge where your skills and knowledge are at. It is not a test. And again, if you don't know the answer, certainly just let us know that you don't know. To get started with different things that you prefer, what is your preferred operating system?
Well, I like Windows 10, Windows 11. But a few years ago, I was running some systems on Ubuntu. Early in my earlier years, I was playing around with Fedora as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What is your preferred email program?
Well, I'd say Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Gmail. I mean, it's in the cloud, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you used Outlook before?
I have. I've
Okay.
used Outlook. 360. I actually use 365 now. But earlier, on my first, internship, we were using the standalone Outlook client through Exchange.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's your preferred browser?
I most often use Chrome,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like Firefox. I don't typically use Edge that much unless I'm opening PDFs.
Sure. Computers or a notebook?
A notebook.
Preferred cell phone?
Um, I'm gonna have to go with the iPhone now. I've been an avid Android user until my wife converted me, and I'm happy about the Apple now.
That's good. Antivirus program. What is your preferred program?
AVG.
And preferred smart TV?
Prefer smart TV. I'm gonna have to go with. Let's see here. I would go with Vizio. I would go with Vizio because I had a Philips, and our Philips it has so many software problems, it's crazy. So I would have to go with Vizio.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you. Again, Linda's going to ask some technical questions. Again, if you don't know the answer, that is completely fine. Just let us know.
Okay.
Okay. In your words, what is required to connect a computer to the internet?
You would have to have a router. In order for a router, for a a laptop, a desktop, a smartphone, anything on that network must be connected to a router.
Okay. What would you do if a customer could not get to a specific web page?
The first thing I would do, number one is, I would look at, I would look at layer one. I would check and see if their cord is physically connected. The next thing I would do is I would ping or do a trace route to the router. Those are the first things that I would start taking a look at. I might try different browsers. But I'd probably go hit that command line, ipconfig/all. If I'm in Linux, ifconfig.
Okay. What would you do if a customer could not send or receive email?
Well, sometimes they're connected through IMAP, so you could look there. But the first thing I'm probably gonna really look at is SMTP. Let me see. You said outgoing. Outgoing is port 25. So if there's a firewall, I might be able to go to 192.168.0.1, log in. Hopefully they have changed their administrative password, and then I might check and see if port 25 just happens to be blocked or shut off. That's one thing I could do.
Okay. I'm going to ask a few more questions here. What command can be run from the command prompt to update the global domain global policy?
Typically what I would do, especially when I was using like SCCM, if I'm pushing, okay, I'll try to answer this simply. If I'm pushing, policies like machine policies, through something like SCCM, now we use Intune, I guess. You could just do a GP update, force all.
Okay. That is correct. Which RAID array provides the fastest read and write speeds? RAID 0, RAID 5, RAID 1, or RAID 10?
I think it's 10.
It's actually 0.
0, okay.
Okay, I'll keep moving on here. What port number is commonly used for Telnet? 21, 80, 75, or 23?
Telnet, unsecure. I think it's not, okay, 80, that's HTTP. And what was the other ones you gave me?
21, 80, 75, or 23?
21. I think Telnet might be 21. SSH is 20. Is it 20?
It's actually 23.
20.
But,
Okay.
Okay. All right. What OSI layer does IP belong to? Your options are session, data link, transport, network, or protocol.
IPv4, you said?
Just IP.
I believe that would be network.
Okay,
Network. Layer
correct.
3. Routers and switches were layer 3.
Okay. Which of the following IPv4 addresses is the loopback address? 172.0.0.1, 255.255.255.0, 127.0.0.1, or 192.168.1.1.
Let me see. A PEEP is 169, so that should be 127.
Correct.
Great, thank you. Derek, those are all the questions that we have for you today. Other than, do you have any other questions or comments for us before I talk about next steps?
Yes. Well, so this position, would you say it would be more of like a high call volume call center?
Do you want me to answer that, Alicia?
Yeah, yep. Linda, if you
Yes,
can
okay.
answer that, yep.
Yeah, so on Sundays, to start out with, that would be basically a day where you would be processing tickets, perhaps calling out to customers, but not calling in. But yes, otherwise it would be taking calls on a live call center. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, not all the time, but typically, yes, you would be taking live calls for the majority of the time, or also doing chat.
Chat. Okay.
Would be it. Yeah.
And in regards to the, I think I mentioned it before, the network monitoring, managed switching, hosted servers, voice, firewalls, and any, would that be within the scope of this position? Doing some of that?
There would be some, as you would, there could be some. The monitoring is actually under our network operations group, under our NOC. So that more falls into that position, but there could be instances where we are contacted and we would be escalating to those groups. Not the monitoring so much. But yeah, like I said, it's not necessarily just level 1. There's probably opportunities there to expand further, but
okay. I was looking at your case study for Farm Bureau Financial Services and what you guys did to their VoIP system. Do we support VoIP as well in this position?
Yes, that would be, so our marketing name for that would be Flex Voice.
Okay, Flex Voice.
So yes, that would be something that that you would be supporting.
Okay, and Can you speak to the culture of the company, far as the team? If you could speak to that.
I would say that we have 12. There's 12 other people, and come from all different all different backgrounds, all kinds of different backgrounds as far as I guess experience or education. I have some people on the team that had worked in, I don't know, like a field service operations before. I have someone on my team that actually had worked at the Geek Squad, and before that they had been a psychologist, I think. I have some people that have came, from a customer service background. I'm trying to think. Some people that actually went to school for IT and have been in the tech support role. I have some people that have been in the IT industry. I do have one individual that worked in IT for many years and decided they wanted to come and just work in the call center. They had been in management before and decided that weren't quite ready to retire and came out of retirement and joined the team. So I don't know, I'm not sure if that's exactly what you were looking for, but yeah, I have some that are more experienced. I have a few people that actually worked for Charter before out of the Rochester area.
Okay.
So definitely a diverse group as far as, I guess backgrounds or different industries they've came to. So.
Okay.
If that helps.
Okay, yeah, that answers my question. I think I got one more question. How soon are you looking to have someone join? And is there anything that you've heard in regards to my experiences and technical expertise that wouldn't be a fit?
Linda, I can touch on the how soon we're looking to join with the next steps and how that works. Derek, as far as the next steps, we are hoping, by the end of this week that we can make a selection for our final round. Our final round is in person with Linda and myself, and then we would work through references and then meet as a hiring team when schedules allow to make an offer. So I'm thinking possibly by the end of next week, we should be able to make an offer, just kind of depending upon schedules. But of course, I would keep you updated. For this week, as far as the selection for the final round, I would be able to let you know by the end of the day, Wednesday, if you've been selected, if we would need more time, or if we're going to move forward with another candidate. And then as far as with the experience and the things that you have mentioned today from my side in HR, I don't have anything that I would mention. Linda, do you have anything that you see or heard today that you'd want some more answers on or
No, I don't have. I thought the fact that you had done some work, you said, with the nonprofit there and working with kids and mentoring. I think that's definitely something that would be very valuable in this position, because you are working with, you never know who's going to answer the other end of the phone. You could be working with somebody that's very competent. You could be working with an 80-year-old grandma and or a businessman or business person so the client on the other end of the phone can deeply vary. So I think your experience there is certainly intriguing and useful in those aspects.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you said the final round could possibly be on site, you said, right?
Yes, we would meet in the Prior Lake location, so that if that works out with everything, we would have you come to Prior Lake and then meet with Linda and myself.
Okay. Yeah, most obliged. Mm-hmm. That definitely would work. Well, I'm definitely looking to continue the conversation. I'm very interested to hear more.
Okay, great. Well, Derek, as far as the next steps, then I would connect with you by the end of the day, Wednesday, with an update. Linda, do you have any other questions or comments?
No, I do. No, I do not.
Okay. Derek, any other questions or comments?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, great. Well, of course, if you do think of anything that you forgot to mention or you do have a question, certainly connect back with me. I will connect with Linda. We'll get that answered or get the information to you. But otherwise, thank you for connecting with us today, and I'll reach out to you before the end of the day Wednesday.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys' time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah.
You too.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so you guys heard that. Now here's the thing, okay? Let me cut my Bluetooth off of there. There we go. Still recording. Okay, cool. So you see how I was asking a lot of those key questions. I was asking a lot of those real key questions. I got my son today, so you might hear him in the background a little bit. I haven't done a podcast in a minute, so we're gonna do a podcast / breaking down the interview. That was like a second shift joint. Those are kind of one of them ones where, you might stick around for like a little while or whatever, if you're in a pinch or whatnot, and you jump back in and you try to get something for like, 80 to 100 to 120,000, something like that. If they come back now, they should be able to make a decision off of just what they got right now. This shouldn't be a situation where they really need a third at this point. It's kind of like, okay, I've kind of showed my cards. Now you just want to see my face. You shouldn't really be asking me any additional questions beyond that. And especially for like a little level 1 or level 2. I think they say level 1, but it's probably going to be level 2. Hey, they should just make a decision and just go ahead and give up that offer. So that's why, you're always, you always fielding offers. You're always fielding calls. In my case, I'm like, no, I got a couple different things on the table and whatnot. But no, they should absolutely at this point in the game. I done already talked to the HR the first time, and then now you're talking to somebody else, the actual hiring manager. So they should just go ahead and cut that offer. But we'll see what happens. So we will see what happens. So I'm gonna do another podcast for you guys pretty soon with some updates and some different things. The next update, the next thing that we're gonna be talking about, you keep hearing this term right now called black jobs. What do they mean by black jobs? Well, I know what it means, but folks is trying to act like they don't know what that means. So we're gonna talk and break down black jobs next time. I'll see y'all later.